we're waiting to get here, how about we just do this?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I need to drop this cup.
Yeah, go drop it.
This is based off of like curve, right?
It's linking.
What's this pin on? I can actually read this.
Cosplay, armor, and props.
Cool stuff.
What's your Did you say cool stuff?
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Go, you go, bro.
Yeah.
I love the finger restraint. Right there. It's finger recognition. It's
Shut up. There you go. Alright, what button?
So if someone stole it, you can tell.
Oh no, that's just my
And that's our company logo.
Wait. That is cool.
Yeah.
Who came up with that?
Our web design. We're a multimedia company.
That is cool.
What is it? We do webcomic and stuff, costuming, cosplay guests, diverse artists, blah blah blah, blue skin feeds. Our goals.
That's a blue skin friends.
Feeds. Yes. Take over the world. Is that what? Well, our goal is to be a household.
Okay.
That's what that means. Questions? There are none. Okay.
I have.
Comic publishing. We do comics. What are we looking for? Who's Jet,
I
by
like
the
how you
way?
use cosplay and recognize pictures.
We're
I know.
looking for a mouse and a bounty hunter.
And then, what is not a cosplay?
Hey, that's a pretty good meme though.
It is, but it's not like we're talking about judges stuff in this one, and so like make me sad. What have I done? Those little pegs, I molded those in Battleship.
Wait.
What?
I thought that was like one of those streaks that have the pics on it.
Yes.
But it's for a battleship?
The movie?
The movie that's
Oh.
with Liam Neeson and.
Oh,
what's his face.
you made those?
I made the pegs. Yeah, I molded them.
That is awesome.
Those are actually Coke cans. We took Coke cans, slipped them upside down,
Oh yeah.
and put some shit on it, and we're just like, yeah, that works. So
Happy face.
happy face. Plastics and problems. This is Adam in the Spartan suit. He lives here in Austin, and that's just.
Wait,
my-
is this
Is
in
he the one
that?
who's been going around as Master Chief?
No, I'm Master Chief.
Is that you guys?
Yeah.
Sir,
Adam's not here.
Adam, yeah,
Adam's in Houston.
Adam's doing stuff.
Adam is that way.
Let's smooth on.
Yeah.
We'll definitely talk about that. That's what plastic
That's
is.
what most of this stuff is made of.
Magic. It's all magic. You know, one word, curate, blah 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 blah.
Cures cancer.
Yeah,
Really? I
cures-
thought it caused cancer.
It's actually non-toxic.
After all that I've probably ingested over the years.
Only for
Wait, you
$100.
ingested it?
Right.
When you work with Smoothcast, it gets everywhere.
Everywhere.
My jeans have speckles of Smoothcast in them still. I've lost socks and shoes to overuse of Smoothcast.
Yeah, I have to wear like my bathing suit, my swim trunks. They're like covered in like little white spots, and so it looks kind of funny because there's like a white spot near my crotch. And there's like
Yeah.
inside you. Anyway, and then that's Dragon Skin. You know, that's one of the field agents from Smooth On collecting dragon skin. No, not really. That is actually Dragon Skin. It's the rubbery stuff. It's the same type of silicone that's made to use plastic boob implants.
Bond fuse.
Bond fuse.
I
Yeah,
can
I'm just.
I can move the line. It'll just make it a fuzzier picture.
So
Just
this
more
stuff,
high-tech.
It's just more foam than plastic.
Rubber.
Oh, it's rubber?
You can
So-
use this to make props, like
Can I make this? Can I use this to make armor?
Yeah.
That would be awesome because I'm doing. Have you guys seen Saint Seiya?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm doing Albafika's Pisces armor.
I suggest using Centrum, which is a type of like PVC like plastic.
Is it light?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like comes in sheets and you cut it out and
you
you
can,
form it.
you can heat form it a little
The
bit.
reason I'm doing it is because my zodiac sign is Pisces, so I'm like I feel obligated.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Sensei. More cosplay pictures.
Yeah.
And that's just judges stuff. Don't
Wait.
really. That's not the one we do blah blah blah. And then and that's it. Thank you. Blah. Thank you. Yes.
Best
So any
panel
questions?
That was a slideshow.
I like
So-
how kawaii that is at the end.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was supposed to be making jokes and stuff the whole time.
Oh, do you have jokes like a whole?
Yeah. I got
Oh,
a-
nice.
Yeah.
I have dude.
Can everybody hear us? We have a microphone. We could actually use that.
Yeah.
We're good. You
Jeff.
can? Okay. Because I totally have a hangover and it's terrible right now. I couldn't even find my hat. What?
You drank too much again.
Well, last night I did, but I had a reason.
I apologize for your.
What?
I apologize for you.
Why is it your fault?
I said I apologize.
I know, but why is it your fault?
Why are you apologizing?
I don't know. No. I know why I'm apologizing. It's probably Isaiah's fault, and I didn't stop him in time.
It's name it up.
I feel terrible.
It's got it, man.
Okay, so it's like what you go over to like McDonald's to get all the different sodas.
The suicide?
Yeah.
Is it a kamikaze?
But it's an actual historical drink.
Yeah, she's
Like Vikings and
No.
Pirates.
pirates. Okay.
It's entertaining. At least let's talk to them about our alcohol problem. Like,
I don't drink.
anybody like whiskey? Yeah? Whiskey? Tequila?
No, it's terrible.
Vodka? No?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Russia is creepy.
It's called.
What?
That's
Under-
I
No,
can't drink.
Underage!
It's okay.
I wasn't asking if you drank, just what your preference was.
There's a bloodstained Russia walking around.
I have a question. Have you guys read the Legacy of Driss series? Any of you?
No.
Well, his armor, it's like a leather plate armor. It's like it overlaps, I think.
I can Google
Like,
it.
go to DeviantArt. Go to DeviantArt. I want to make his armor, and I can't figure out how to do it except like leather and metal in the middle, like a leather metal sandwich.
You can always just bludgeon them back with it. I think it could be a legitimate weapon.
Oh yeah.
The armor.
God, that thing's so heavy. Yes.
Try walking around with that for hours on end in halo armor. My arms are like
I stopped the slide from coming out now. It's worth it.
Okay, cool. So now ask your question.
Yeah, I want to make that
What part exactly?
the armor,
The whole thing?
because I want to cosplay him.
That's a lot of leather work right now.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know anything about leather.
Whitney knows stuff about leather.
Whitney.
She gets to.
Do you?
Like there's a better
I
version
know
that somebody
stuff.
actually brew, like to kind of draw it. Like there's a better version.
I make fun.
But
You can always like fake the whole leather thing if you use foam and coat it with certain kinds of vinyl.
Yeah, you can use vinyl and what's another one?
I've had experience with vinyl. I cosplay Squall.
And it looks like you can
It does not allow you to breathe at all.
cast gems
Wait, so
out
you
of clear
can
resin.
Maybe. A little like fiberglass resin. If you
Yeah.
just have the time.
You can mold, like sculpt little clay things for the spikes on the legs and then make a mold and cast those.
Yeah.
Metal rivets.
Yeah, I just do that.
Lots of hot glue.
Lots of fiber.
Hot glue, super glue. I've been using like something called E9000.
Oh, you meant that.
It
use
stinks
that.
like hell, but it works.
Hey,
Also, you don't want to get it between your fingers.
Yeah.
what's up?
I was wondering, are y'all going to go over how to do, fake plate or anything like that? Because
I fake plate armor.
Like, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Yeah.
what would you use to make something like, say, Judge Magister Gabron from Final Fantasy 12?
Oh, great. Pull up a picture. You want to start on this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We'll just bring up pictures and discuss how we would build it.
Yeah, we can discuss how we do it cheaply, and then how we do it expensively. So basically how we do it as accurate as possible,
Yeah.
and then
just
cheap.
like.
I'll do the cheap if you want to do
Okay.
accurate.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, 'cause
I am kind of a college student, so...
I've already started on this in craft foam, so hence why I said
Oh,
do this
wow.
one. Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah. Too
12.
too
I'm looking
legit
at
to
sword.
quit. So here's what we're gonna do, John Wayne. We're gonna bring up some pictures from the group, and we'll explain how to do it cheap, and then how to do it expensive. So I am an idiot and insane, so I started this at craft foam. Yeah. So
nice.
I've got my own like cast of my head, which I mean, not having one of those is kind of detrimental because wig head's not as big as your head. Even a man's wig head is like 2 inches smaller than my head. So we'll talk about that real quick. But let's just assume you have an accurate depiction of your body to
Who
use.
doesn't?
I have slowly been pinning these little pieces of craft foam in and just hot gluing them all slowly, diligently, piece by piece, just each one. And craft foam you can kind of heat form just the same as some of your heavier plastics. But you can do it with like a blow dryer versus a heat gun, which is a little more safe for the house. And then it's just all painted in glue, like Mod Podge. I just use Mod Podge and a little water, but you can use like tacky glue and some water. You kind of want it to be thin, so you do lots of thin coats. Yeah, what's up?
One other thing you could possibly use with the foam that's fairly cheap, there's a material called super glaze.
Yeah.
You can get it from Home Depot, and it's a two-part liquid that you can put together. It's used to coat wooden tables.
It's a varnish.
Yeah, it's a varnish, and you can either paint underneath of it, like just paint that color underneath on the foam exactly, and just pour the super glaze on top of it, and it would create this really nice smooth texture over it, or you can paint right on top of it too. Just be careful, you don't want it to bend too much though, depending on the thickness of the super glaze.
And then for something more like his shoulders and his arm pieces, I do a lot of paper mache. It's nice and cheap. Like, I didn't want to put a lot of money in this costume because I could. I could totally put a lot of money in that costume, but then the next one will come along, and the next one will come along, and people will forget what Final Fantasy this was from and who he was. So just trying to get it done quicker and cheaper.
Is this the one that was X-Death was in?
Huh?
Is this the one that X-Death was in?
No, this is from Final Fantasy 12. This is the brand. He's kind of the villain.
Oh, I remember him. I just didn't like the fight system from that.
Well, Bane was
We put the projector over
But he was cooler.
He
looked
had
like a
cooler
girl.
sword.
He did.
How the hill? I'm actually curious about that.
We'll pop it up one more.
How the hell?
There we go. How the hell?
How would you do all that clockwork mechanism thing?
Each piece all by itself.
Yeah. Yeah, see, a big thing is trying to find like other things that'll represent that. Like sometimes like more cylinders, you can like build spools of thread. Like he was talking about Coke cans. Just try to find, instead of trying to make every piece from scratch, try to find things that'll work for what you need. Like a lot of like PVC pipings used a lot, little pieces just to do perfect circles, tubes, that kind of thing. I can really diagram it out for you if you need to get some side references.
I was just wondering how people make foam actually work, because I've never done it before.
Okay.
Do you use tools or what?
No, not well. You don't even need a heat gun for craft foam. It's just a nice blow
Oh, so you
dryer.
have thicker.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have thicker pieces. So like your standard, like I spent $1, got a big brick of craft foam, those thin sheets. So it'll look nice and rigid. You'll be able to bend it or retain its shape. But when you start either, like I just do mine over the oven because I'm stupid. Put my hands over the fire. I'm fun. You know, I hurt myself a lot.
You're a dragon.
Don't do yeah, exactly. Don't do those kinds of things. Use safety equipment, oven mitts, or Kevlar gloves. But anyways, when you start heating it up, it'll slowly start to soften, and then it'll just become like, not a liquid, but it'll just liquid out on you, and just lose shape completely. Then you can force it over your shape and smooth it over, and then I like to heat it up a little more, just so it'll really retain that shape.
You have to put it over. Sorry.
Yes, yes.
I
Then,
was thinking, do you use some tools or your hands shaped or what? I didn't realize I formed it.
or right, usually I'll make a form out of anything I can, like I'll paper mache it, or I'll just clay. I make a lot of stuff out of Sculpey, and then cast over that, or heat form over that.
What specific materials are we talking about? Sorry, I arrived a little late.
Oh, we're just talking about a cheap way to do this costume. I'm just talking about craft foam right now. Just a simple, real cheap way to do that. Then we're gonna talk about how to do it more expensively.
And more accurately.
Hey, what's up?
How hot is the foam? Does the foam have to be? Like, if you were wearing, say, a thick sweater, could you mold it over yourself?
It doesn't mold very well over fabric. It'll still take I wouldn't really do a thick sweater. If you're doing it over yourself, like I was talking about, like I've got body casts of myself, so I don't have to keep doing it on myself, because like you'd want to get somebody, like a friend of a similar body shape, when you would do things like that.
So you just hurt them and not yourself.
Yeah. Well, you can wrap them up in some like saran wrap. They'd be fine.
Duct tape dummies.
Duct tape.
Yep.
Duct tape sword.
How exactly would you go about making a model cast of yourself, or getting those mold?
That's its own topic. Do you want to jump into like? Do we want to start with the duct tape dummy?
It's basically you wrap yourself in duct tape, and then when you pull yourself out and put it all back.
Stuff it full of
Stuff
newspaper,
full of newspaper.
or pillow stuffing.
Or
Yeah,
whatever.
so cheap shirt, cheap pants, or whatever part you're doing, wrap yourself in duct tape.
Make sure you're
Then
wearing underwear.
You're gonna cut a seam, and then you're gonna take it off, put it back together, take the seam back up, and stuff it, and then you'll have a pretty accurate representation of yourself. A lot of like like when you're pinning things, you use that for like craft foam. The thing I like about craft foam is I can pin that into my foam wig heads and my body cast. So I just pin it all in there, and then I glue it all together to keep retaining the shape. That's the perk to craft foam, I find. It's just very pliable and very easy, porous to use.
Now, if you wanted to do the super accurate version of the dummy, you would have to use plaster, and you have to be really careful because too much plaster can actually cause third-degree burns. So you have to layer it on really carefully.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, you can soak like pieces of linen.
Yeah, linen strips, burlap works well as well.
And you might apply it to the body, and then you'll have 2 halves. And it really helps if you put keys in to make sure that they match. I use marbles when I do keys. Keys.
What is a key?
A key. Well, when you've got 2 halves of a mold, if there's nothing to like interlock between them, they're just going to shift and move around. So if you have like little bumps along the edges of the mold, and it just locks it in, so it won't move. You'll have just a really nice tight fit. Anybody kind of getting that?
We can draw it out too if you want to diagram things. I'll even diagram them for you if you need.
Like teeth.
Yeah, there's 2 dry erase right there. Okay, great.
Like teeth.
Oh, board, awesome!
Cool.
Yay,
Yay!
But it's got like a dent on one side.
Yeah, like if you've got 2 molds right here. Let's say we're doing like a mold of a ball. Really boring, I know. But like this is the interior, it's empty. This is where the edge is. And you're gonna have like a key right here, like I use marbles. And then you'll have an open area right here that it'll interlock into so that they just lock and they will not move.
That looks like a.
Shut up.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll do that. And then you'll have it all empty. And then if you want to make a mold, you can make. What would you do to body mold? You can do smooth cast if you wanted to make a body mold yourself.
Wouldn't it be like as heavy as that gun, if not more?
Yes, it would, but there's several other plastics that are much lighter that you could use. You just gotta search for them.
That does look like half a donut.
Here's an example.
Well, I'm hungry,
Besides, it's like
so.
the side view. Yes.
I was wondering about making metal look like worn and stretched a little more.
Weathering.
I love weathering. Okay, so
Weathering is awesome.
I'll take this to the light here. All right, you see that dark little thing? That's weathering pretty much. Like this is all white, pure white acrylic, and then for metal, I can't think right now. You know what I'm talking about. Can you continue?
The silver?
The silver.
Rub and buff. I use rub and buff.
I use black acrylic. But basically you'll paint on your stuff like you usually do, and then to give it a weathered effect, you'll get black acrylic, you'll rub it on, you get a paintbrush,
And then rub it off.
and rub it off, and then you just wipe it off, and then it gives it like that worn
It
look
sticks
on
in like
that.
the corners, makes it look like there's grime. Sometimes I'll take a Dremel and I'll just like run over the edges and cause slash marks.
Or like another thing is like if you want mud or blood splatter or any kind of splatter of any kind. I said any kind twice.
It's okay, we're all
It's
tired.
okay. Oh, it's okay.
Not
It's
as
like-
tired
it's
as
like-
me.
I know.
You take a cup, simple drinking cup, and then you like put it's a 1-to-3 ratio of acrylic paint and water. Acrylic paint being the 1 and water being the 3, or like however you want the splatter to run. And then you kind of swirl around and then you slash it on your object. And it gives it that nice, or you flick your wrist, and it gives it that nice pattern. I actually have a picture of.
What is the blood one made out of? Is that acrylic paint, right?
It's just red acrylic paint, and you add a little bit of green to it to use a darker finish. I did that on my
Could you
hair.
do black if the actual color of the blood from that anime is a bit darker than some perceive?
You could, or you can make it exactly like that.
That is cool.
But that's the blood splatter, or that's the splatter that I was talking about. It looks really good.
It looks like that's blood. It looks really good.
Well, it's supposed to be alien blood, but that works.
Alien blood, yeah. Well, blood is blood.
Hey,
Blood is blood.
you know what that is? It looks like splatter. That's a V2 there.
That's the recon
That's the
helmet,
one
right?
that's warped.
Aw.
From Dave's. That's
Oh, I got.
what?
Yeah, I have a Dare helmet from Dave too.
Isn't that warped?
No, it's actually good, but it's really tiny. I put it on and it sits right here with my chin.
Oh,
is
that must have
tiny.
been
It like shrunk.
No,
you.
Dave just didn't build the Pepakura, thank you, version of the helmet very accurately, so it became very tiny.
This one was sculpted out of clay. And then there's some Pepakura stuff. Okay, you
Pepakura.
paper crafting man.
Pepakura?
Pepakura.
Pepakura?
See? Yeah, it's totally horrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah. So anyways, what do we want to say about Pepakura? So, have you said anything about it?
Not yet.
Okay, so it's not cheating because there's a lot of skill involved.
There really is.
It is.
And patience.
Oh my
But
God.
the basic theory is that most video games, well, it starts with video games, a lot of them are rips from video game models, is they take the 3D model and this convenient little origami folding program that can be scaled to any dimension. And what it does is it'll take all of the polygons, each facing side, like triangles and the weird shapes that they use for each, edge and side in the 3D model, and it unfolds it into like flat pieces of paper with folding lines. Could you bring up something?
I actually have a tutorial on doing it.
Oh, well, sweet. There we go.
Pepakura,
There we go.
Where I was
Wait,
building.
could you do that with the
Yeah.
armor that you were talking about?
I actually build most of my armor exclusively with Pepakura. Like the June helmet right
That
there.
is
This
cool.
one was all done in Pepakura and vacuum forming.
That is cool.
Moon wildflower. and
How long does it
Oh,
typically
wow.
take to get good at constructing fairly detailed like pieces of armor or costume?
Well, via Pepakura
Well,
or just
Just in general for armor, that's a varied question.
Gallery?
A lot of it is a bit of the talent, but a lot of it that I find is where you search the internet. You can learn whatever you want
I approve of you.
on there. A lot of it I find good videos. Videos will give you nice 3D ways, and a lot of people show off their stuff and how they do it, the process of. A lot of images will just give you like, here, oh, and now it's supposed to look like this. So try to find videos. There's a lot of videos on YouTube for armor making. But there's not a set time. There's not a set time, and all of it is a lot of it that I find is just accurately depicting the size and dimension. You'll see Mega Man's like a giant helmet. It makes their head look really small, and they kind of look like chipified version, kind of super deformed. So a lot of it is trying to make it work with your own body style too. Just one helmet on one person is not going to look the same on another person.
right.
Yeah, so a lot of it is just working with your body type.
so yeah, that's that helmet. I modeled it in 3ds Max.
Yay.
It's really helpful if you know how to model when working with this because you will find models already out there.
And these are all free programs.
Yeah. Yes.
These are all free programs. We will
Except for
write.
3ds. 3ds
Well, yeah.
Max.
Blender is free.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
but as long as you've got something to model with, you can.
Wouldn't SolidWorks work as well?
I would delete as long as you can save it as like a .obj or .3ds, you should be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can even force those file extensions and it'll still open them. Like a working knowledge of 3D modeling would be nice, but there is quite an archive of already done Pepakura files that you'd be able to find, and you could just print those out. There's a lot of tutorials on changing like the dimensions and shape as
That's what
well.
it came up as. Okay,
I
shut
love,
up.
I love your question mark.
So this is what it looks like on paper.
That's
That's what
after-
happens after you hit unfold, and the program unfolds it any way it wants to.
Yeah, so
That's what it looks like.
So more of the congruent straighter shapes right here, that is actually like the side panels on there. And then these little triangles that you see are actually the little folding flaps. Is what you'll do after you, and we should have printed out a couple sheets. What you'll do after you have these is there's,
half a terabyte full of stuff.
but no printer. I could go,
I've got some.
we could run that down with a printer.
You want to?
Yeah,
What do you want to print out?
just anything to show.
Okay. Take it.
Cool. I'm plugging it all right down. Anyways, we'll get some stuff real quick. Unless you got a jump drive.
I don't. Oh god.
Hey.
Armor making panel.
Cool.
Hey.
Come sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just keep talking. This is gonna take too long anyway.
I mean, like you've got
Oh yeah, we can draw it out.
pieces like this, and then you'll have a fold like
I
this.
would never unfold that piece.
Shut up. And then you'll
Wait,
have
we have 2 colors.
yeah, we've got lines.
BFFs.
These are the lines where you fold, and there's 2 folds. There's mountain folds, where you fold like this, and valley folds, which are like this. You gotta really make sure you know which one you're folding, because the shape will look really funny if you don't fold them correctly.
Right. Usually mine I'll have like a
Dash.
yeah, with a dotted line, and then like a long dashed
Mhm.
line. And basically, what I do is I take a ruler and a pen, and I'll go through like all of these folds will be folded like this, a valley fold. And then all of the mountain folds will fold the other way. So I'll take one side and I'll just go down with my ruler and my pen, and I'll make little creases by just going over each one of them. And then I'll flip the entire shape over, and I'll go back and do all of these the other way with another pen, so that after I'm done, it'll have all the folds in there, nice and straight. And then you'll take all those pieces and just put them together.
Or if you get the hands of a surgeon, you could score it with an X-Acto knife.
Oh, God, I can't.
I use a very
back of
dull
an X-Acto knife?
X-Acto knife.
A dull X-Acto
I have a
knife.
special X-Acto knife just for peppercurra.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say to use one, but I, like the first time I did it, I just kept
the
the
pen
bag
method is good because
Yeah.
you can't mess up.
Yep.
So
Well, and also I use 2 colors, so it just like, I never mess up.
yeah, you just can't mess up with the pen. It's a lot better.
Do you use peppercorn to make buttons?
Oh yes, definitely. That's made of pep. Is
Yeah.
that pep?
Not
Actually, no,
the
it's CNC, but yes, you can pep. Although you gotta be careful pepping smaller things like pistols.
You should pull up
let
the
me-
405.
Let me. Oh, let's.
Where to go on the 405th though?
Huh, you can't ask anybody.
Oh yeah,
That's
just
wrong.
No, I just googled the 405th archive wiki, which actually doesn't show.
This is the
Yeah,
whole.
405th.
This is just a little bit of stuff.
Oh, there you go.
What are we gonna look at first?
Let's pull some weapons. He's talking about weapons.
Okay.
Guns.
Um.
What do we got?
Guns. Hearts. I don't have any guns. Well, I do have a
Portal gun.
Portal gun.
Let's do it.
Portal gun.
So here's the gun from Portal, and this is how it'll look in Peppercurra. Are you viewer? Yeah, you're a viewer.
Yeah.
It looks like a molecular structure.
So on the right, there's 6 pages diagrammed out. So when you print this out, it would be 6 pages.
Print it out on cardstock.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cardstock is
Do
like
not use
slightly
normal
thick
paper.
business card paper.
Trying to cut out.
I can find my cardstock at a local hobby craft store for 89 cents.
I do Walmart.
Or
So,
Walmart.
so we do it all out of cardstock because it's rigid, it'll keep its shape, and it soaks in the resin pretty well.
Yeah.
So after you would make your shape there on the left from the pieces on the right, which are all conveniently numbered, tabbed, and
Let me just zoom in.
Why?
Yeah.
When you mouse over it, what is that line?
It's showing which pieces connect.
Oh.
yeah. So when you roll over one fold, it'll show you where the other part of it is supposed to be. Yeah, we can zoom in and show you those little lines now.
If I can.
That is cool.
There we go. Oh wait.
Oh my God, too much.
I got it.
So here's what I was talking about: the dash and then the hyphen.
There we
ones.
go.
Yeah, and there's the part.
Make sure you have the numbers on before you print it. That is the worst thing to have to go back and
Oh
renumber
god,
things.
that was
yourself.
in my early years. That was the rage of my day, was to print out like this epic 54-piece page, because the old Mark 6 chess piece was like 50-something pages.
Yeah.
And so when I finally printed it out, because I'd left, because it took forever to print out 50 pages, I come back and none of them are numbered. And so I'm just like, flip tables! it's the most frustrating thing in the entire world.
But
I blame Isaiah.
You have to sit there with the pieces and go back to your file and one by one keep checking them to make sure which ones are which. I did, I think I did my first ODST helmet and then looked down and noticed that I'd been doing it inside out. Like, no numbers, I was just freehanding it because I was like, I don't need it, I've done plenty of these already.
Numbers,
inside
what
out.
is this?
It was, yeah. But like, there's 2 programs. There's Viewer. Yeah, you can't see that up there if you can't. There's Peppercurra Viewer 3, and then there's Peppercurra Designer 3. They're both free programs. Viewer, you're able to like, I open Viewer while I'm cutting it and scoring it, so I can like select that piece, and then over here it highlights it. I can zoom out.
Zoom out is the other way.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I usually have a mouse for this. Okay. And then it like.
Where is the piece?
It's.
Oh, you need to click it again.
Okay.
So there are like step-by-step tutorials online for these sorts of programs, right?
There are step-by-step tutorials for how to do these in general, and then you just, like, there's not for each piece.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just.
Yes, there are.
Alright.
It's translated directly from Japanese. Yeah,
That's the straightest line ever.
We're learning Japanese. Yay!
So pepakura means paper craft.
Yes!
Hence it's like a giant origami.
Yay.
But we just take it a couple steps further.
Can you alter the size? Like, let's say you wanted to make like the portal gun, like, because I have smaller forearms. Can you actually alter the size in the program?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Yeah, be careful altering it though, because you can alter me like I just want the height smaller or something. It alters it in a ratio. Okay.
This is when you pull up designer.
Did you ever play Mario 64? Remember when you could pull around his face? Yeah, if you go vertical, the inside of his head's gonna stay the same width, and it won't. It'll just continue to super deform him into a taller. So you'll have to move both width and height.
Anyway, that's when you start to use the designer. And so from here you can go to 2D menu, and then change scale, and then scale factor, and it's all in millimeters, thank God. So you really, well, it's like, take your ruler and you measure it out, and I use blah. I don't know what I was talking about. My mind is just.
How do you scale?
How do I, this?
I trial and error. I print out a crap ton of things, and then I like put it on and go, wow, this is not the size of my head. Inch it up, and then go back and continue to do.
The only thing I ever learned when I was in school in math, algebra, was the scale factors formula. I know this is math stuff. Okay, so like let's say it's 50 over 100 at your scale, but you want to make it to your body shape, so it would be x over 200. All right, and so like from there you got to cross multiply, and then x equals 100, and then 1,000, and then so equals 1,000. I think I know how to do this. And that's when you
X equals 10.
Yeah, and then x equals 10. And so that's how you scale factor it. So this number would be 10 over 200.
And so that's what you put in your new.
And that's what you put into your new design. Like if I'll have like a figurine, like Halo figures, and so I'll measure the like let's say I have a Halo figure right here.
Draw it.
I'm gonna draw it.
Draw
out.
it, yeah.
Wait, I forget.
All right. Let's say I have an action figure, and he is this big.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And so I measure him from foot to head, and he is like, what, 7 inches? He's not really, but let's just say it is. And so I am 6 foot tall. So if I'm 6 foot tall and he's 7 inches, and I want to measure out his forearm piece, and so I measure his forearm piece to be like 0.5 inches. And so from there, I'll take the 0.5 over 7 equals x over 6 feet, which is 6 feet in inches is like, what, 70 something inches or something? So it'll be over 70, so x over 70, and then figure that out, and then that would be the correct proportion ratio in inches to what your forearm length should be. And so that's the only thing I ever learned in algebra. The end.
You make it really.
I do.
I just measure my forearm in inches, convert it to millimeters, and put it in.
You can do that
Shouldn't
too.
that rely on you being proportionate though? Long waist and short waist and stuff?
Well,
then
we're
you
gonna do
just-
like this.
Well,
You just
proportions.
change it based on your body.
Yeah.
So like I was talking about proportions before, it all changes with your body shape. Now, what I do is I'll take like the same that he'll measure the figurine, but for something more like this weapon, you can do things like measuring your arm, and then like say this on paper would be about probably 1.5 inches, and then the gun probably about 4 inches. And so you can scale it up by measuring your own arm, and then get an accurate length of how long your gun should be for your body shape and your body height.
That is what I needed for my Hades, but I think I maybe have added on a bit too much. Because now it's about the size of my thigh.
To
A
watch
lot of
out
it's
for
trial by
girls.
error too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a little. Yeah. That's what I'm holding by the hand.
She made that all sculpted.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a sculpting. It's too legit.
To quit.
So did you do all the carving in the sculpting beforehand?
I didn't carve it, I pressed the pattern.
Oh, nice, nice.
Good idea.
I like it. Yep. Once again, find something that'll make the shape easier than how you could make it, or like for, I don't want to talk about your neck real quick. So you could slowly doodle each single one in there, or you can find like stamps and little press things to press in the pattern. They don't always have to be exact. Taking a little bit of artistic licensing for like patterns and things like that will make it yours. It'll still get the pattern across, but some people get a little anal and want to make it look exact.
That would be me.
And that's a time thing. Oh, I should draw a triangle.
Triangle. There's a good
Triangle.
Time,
You can only have 2.
cost,
Yeah.
accuracy. Accuracy.
Or beauty or whatever.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Hotness.
Hotness. Yes.
Such a
The
hot
hotness
gun.
factor. So you can only have 2 of these. You can have all of them, but that usually sets you aside. But you can only have 2 of these. You can do something cheap and fast, but it won't be accurate. You can do something accurate and fast, but it won't be cheap. You do something accurate and cheap, but it usually takes a long
Like
time.
a year to make the suit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the little triangle. So
I thought by time you meant like an extended period of time, not a short time.
Give me either one.
yeah, well, because sometimes it means that it's short, and sometimes like the shorter. Wow, really? Throw the little thing. The shorter the time it is, the better. The longer the time it takes, usually that's obviously the negative connotation on that one. I know what you should do. Oh, no, she's got 8
Panel
minutes.
1.
She's got 8 minutes. We got another panelist who's doing a mascot panel. She's going to bring all her people over here and talk a little more about them.
Question. Some people,
In that room.
Some people have said to me like armor and helmets, you could also do like a wireframe, to start off.
Yes, like I was talking about how you do paper mache, that's a part of paper mache is the wireframe. But a lot of it is make a shape out of things you know before you start using the more expensive things on top of them. Because you can't, you could just start out sculpting it out of clay. It'd take a long time, but if you could find something that looks closer to the shape, that's why they have foam ball, the styrofoam balls. Those are wonderful, wonderful little things. I use them for bases all the time. Hey!
It's funny that you bring that up because
I don't need your help
it's funny
anyway.
that you bring that up because I'm doing. Have you seen the anime Slayers?
Yes.
You know Zelos,
Yes.
his staff.
Yeah.
I'm doing the ball. I'm doing that cosplay, and I was trying to figure out how I made this ball out of with the styrofoam ball. How I make it look glossy after I paint it.
Well,
It's obviously glass. Right?
Yeah, my first suggestion is you can actually find oversized Christmas ornaments, like plastic Christmas ornaments. Internet, basically.
Internet.
You can order them from anywhere, or any craft store usually have some pretty standard sizes. But for things like that, you can use the little plastic balls. They'll give you your gloss sheet without any work. Most styrofoam is going to take a little more work.
Staff. How would I go about doing that? How would you go about doing the staff?
Let's pull the pictures.
Yeah.
Because I've got the tunic and everything else now. It's just the modeling and everything I'm lost on.
Yeah.
I could sew and everything.
Here we go.
Zealous.
Let's
The ultimate troll.
Exactly. So, do you want to explain a more abstract wood shape like that?
For the staff?
Else than whittling it down would take quite a while.
Well,
Okay, see there, that goes back to our triangle again. So to make that accurate out of wood, it could be pretty cheap. You could go out and find a log outside. Pretty accurate if you whittle it down, but it's gonna take a long time.
Yes, and I don't have that kind of skill.
Buy a
Exactly.
dowel rod and cover it in paper mache.
What?
Buy a dowel rod and cover it in paper mache.
Well, you could just find it. You could just get a bigger rod in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bigger rod. Also, and then there's a giant piece of wood outside.
What's up?
It's too early.
Yeah.
But the reason, the thing about the giant dowel rod is that on the bottom, his staff is kind of, it goes crooked, like old man wise staff kind of thing. So
I'm doing it right now.
Okay, please select Whitney.
Yep.
Well, we like Whitney.
We do, but he's awesome.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Okay, so, yeah.
No, okay.
Okay. Like to talk?
Go for it.
Okay.
It's your helmet.
Okay, yeah. That is the Pepakura after having built it all together, which ends up becoming this.
And then put the shadow like in the spot, so it looks really cool.
that looks cool with the visor.
Yeah. But yeah. After that, I think I had another tutorial about what happened after
Probably.
that. Yeah, but okay, after I got to that point, what I did was I actually coated the paper
armor
with resin, fiberglass resin. And when you do that, you gotta be really careful and make sure that it doesn't warp, because when it gets wet with the resin, it will try to warp a little bit. And after the resin's dry, I actually slush cast the interior with Smooth Cast 320, which is my best friend.
I like 300.
I like 320.
I like 300.
Okay.
Like using your top.
But it was in the yellow and the blue containers as shown earlier. It's made by Smooth On, and there's actually a distributor up in Dallas, so you can get your stuff pretty quickly. But Smooth Cast can be pretty expensive. It's usually about $70 for a gallon. But you can make a lot with that gallon.
Yeah.
But it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Use plastic cups, use stirrers, you mix it.
Vinyl gloves.
I has
Do
those.
not use rubber or latex.
Yeah, they
Vinyl
will
gloves.
impede the curing process.
They will impede the curing process.
But
Vinyl
yeah.
are cheaper anyway, so it's
That's
all-
smooth.
Thank you for all the information.
Yeah, I'll pull up
Yeah,
the
320 is what I use, but you can use 300. The only difference between the numbers is like the curing time. There might be possible like color difference a little bit too.
Yeah.
Like
There
one's
is
white, one's off-white, and you can actually add pigment to it as well. If you want to have like the interior of your helmet or whatever be like a pink or green, you can use food coloring. And there's, I think you might be able to use acrylic paint. I don't know, a little bit of acrylic paint and some sort of a pigment.
Yeah. Well, they have pigment on at Smooth On,
That too.
but I mean it's whatever.
Yeah. Smooth On is
Smoothon.com.
Yeah.
It's the website. All holy stuff. That's all. That's Smoothcast 320. Not that, but like down here it tells you if you're really like.
Hi.
Oh my God.
I am living off of no sleep.
Oh God. How was what was that?
Different. It actually wasn't too bad.
Difference engine?
No,
It was not bad. Alright, well, since you're here, let's talk about mascotting.
What? Okay.
We'll say Diddy right here. He'll chill.
All right.
Yeah, he's the perfect mascot too.
Give his head.
No, my head is in someone else's room. I'm able to get in contact with it.
That works.
What did you make the visor out of on that?
Yeah.
The visor is actually PETG. It's a special
Is it good?
thin plastic that's awesome for vacuum forming. As you can see on the original Pepakura thing, this was actually all paper, and I actually did smooth cast in it. And then I cut it out of the helmet, and I made a buck out of it.
A buck. What is a buck?
Buck. A buck is something you use in vacuum forming. It's the shape that you're going to vacuum form the plastic
A negative?
over. I call it a buck.
It's called a buck.
It's a buck, yeah.
I didn't make it.
Yeah, and then I vacuum formed it over the buck, and you trim it, and then I dyed it with bright dye and acetone.
Yeah.
You can email her all about this later.
Okay, Whitney. What is mascotting?
So you want to lightly touch on that.
How can I
There.
mascot?
Oh, stuff. Oh, I get to draw stuff more? Yay.
Yeah, Whitney, you can draw.
All right. Mascotting.
What? Smile.
Ooh, happy face.
That's really descriptive.
We're going to pull up my slideshow again?
No, it's mascot.
Oh.
Be more happy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard. Please bear with me, guys. I am running over 24 hours without sleep. And I was in Dallas yesterday because I had to do an event there. And I was like, all right, wake up at 6. Well, LOL, I didn't sleep. But mascotting, basically taking a character that's pre-existing either in anime and video games, and they somehow I consider it a character that covers their face. I have a Skull Kid costume. I have a Scarecrow costume. Diddy Kong is sitting over here in the chair with Master Chief's head.
The Diddy Chief.
Diddy Chief.
Is that your stuff? Or is it something else?
Oh, that's not. Hey, that's me up here. Whoa, whoa. Is it Google?
Yeah.
That's creepy.
I googled monkey heartless cosplay.
Oh, okay. So that's my. Oh man, I didn't have a laptop in the other room. So
Yeah, we got you covered.
Yeah, I
here.
got my laptop.
You guys are awesome. But that's my Lion Sora. Hey, that's my DeviantArt. Okay.
Hey, let's
Yeah,
do
that
the art.
You're totally creeping me out because I totally didn't know this happened.
Like you killing a hunter.
Wonders of the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, let's.
Oh, and there's
a
Kid Boo. That was Lion Sora. He's
What is
pretty.
Kid Boo made out of?
Kid Boo was actually a very interesting thing and a lot of trial and error with that one.
Zoom out.
It was my first time sewing with spandex. And also the first time I had to take a mold of my face. That was interesting.
Would you plastic cast it?
Did I? No, I didn't. I know how to plaster cast. I plaster cast my face before. Plaster is very fragile, so that's why I don't really like working with plaster too much. But except for plaster wrap, I use that as a base for some of my things. But that was actually Model Magic, the really cool air dried Crayola
Just
clay.
smash it in your face.
Yeah, I just kind of laid there on the couch for. I legitimately laid there on the couch for a little while, let it dry a little bit, and then I kind of pushed it to the shape of my face where I needed it. And of course, once I finished and had the general shape, I went in and cut the jaw out. And like I was explaining, actually my mascotting panel over there, there's a lot of things that you have to consider what mascotting is, and that in normal cosplay, most characters, or some of your generic characters like Ash Ketchum, who wears a jacket and pants, okay, he wears a jacket and pants, you can go find that in the store.
Thrift stores.
Yeah, thrift store.
Yeah.
Or if you really want to, you can sew the entire thing.
Yeah, sew you some jeans.
Yeah.
That's convenient.
But with mascotting, most of the time, almost majority of the characters out there, like for Diddy Kong, Kid Boo, Lion Sora, you have to alter the shape of your body to fit the character. This one, I have fake abs and fake muscles, and so that's some of the different things I did there. There's Lion Sora. Man, my
Diddy Kong.
There's Diddy Kong. I wish I had this in the last panel because someone asked about what the head looked like, and I was like, well, I don't
You're
have
Diddy
it.
Kong. Oh, you need peanut guns.
I'm working on it.
We're making the board.
Sweetness.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get them to actually shoot peanuts. That's the interesting thing about it.
Ooh, get your giant bone peanuts.
Oh, but well, no one has them. There'll be little prizes. If you're hungry.
Like a t-shirt gun, but full of oh wait, that's a bad idea.
Oh, that'd be.
Get your peanut cannon.
But like I said, altering the. Sorry.
Use the marshmallow peanuts.
I can do that.
That would be
Oh, like the candy peanuts?
Oh,
those,
yeah.
I hate those.
More
They make me
maybe
sick
a
to my
little-
stomach.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
what you
true.
shoot them on the ground and at people.
I forget.
Because you're not gonna eat them.
Oh, they're good for.
They're not edible. No.
And I have fake bananas already. I
Oh,
guess.
there you go.
Yeah. Or a fake banana. I don't know where the other ones are.
I get a fake banana too.
So
Hey.
why don't you just go through like how you make that helmet out of your head shape?
Huh.
Because we were talking
It's just very
about we
small.
were talking about proportions earlier and how you
Oh.
would make a costume fit to a different size, like a different size person.
Got it.
Because Whitney's very small.
So as a very
Yeah.
small person,
Small individual.
they like to be called little. Not small or short. That's not.
I'm a dwarf. I play D&D. Yeah, like it depends on the character that you pick initially. For Diddy Kong, he's a more pudgier character, and actually he was one of the easiest shapes, or one of the easiest patterns I had to come up with. And one thing with mascotting is really, the only pattern out there that you can really work from and alter is that. It's like a Halloween costume packet, and they say it's like mascotting, and I'm just like, well, there's so many shapes that you cannot achieve with that. It kind of looks like a giant kangaroo to a certain extent. But with Diddy Kong and with other characters, it really depends on the character and how you're going to alter the shape. But with Diddy Kong in particular, I had to come up with as you can see, I'm very tiny. I basically had to blow up. I had to make a pattern that was almost 3 times my size. A very large pattern, and it's actually that. Is it the basic? I can't even remember. Sorry, like I said, I'm very scattered brain right now. Ask questions to help me help you.
Is it
Questions?
really heavy? And hard to
No,
move in?
not at all. It just gets hot.
How would you do padding for something like that with your body shape?
All right.
How would you get to same place as such?
I am going to show you. And a lot of people are like, well, why didn't you finish the inside of your costume? It's for questions like that. So I can show you exactly what I did. It's going to look disgusting, but trust me, it sits well on the body.
I feel like Ikkicon's guts out, you monster.
Pretty much. Hey, you're a
You're killing my
child.
Did anyone what? Like Ikkicon?
Well, he's complaining about you pulling out his guts.
Oh. You're a monster.
Oh, did anybody really like Ikkicon?
Oh.
Are we really gonna miss him? Yes. For now.
I played as him in Smash Bros. When it first came out. Maybe he was my character for Mario Kart for a little bit, but then I switched. Oh, you know.
But then he turned traitor.
Actually, I just Ikkicon. The reason why he came about is because I had this fur laying around, and I really don't like working with this fur, but I was like, what character could I do? And then I went through and I was like, haha, Ikkicon. So that's actually how Ikkicon came about.
Do we want to ask why you had fur lying around?
I did,
She does a lot of math.
I do.
Wendy, well, I guess you could say you're just lying around.
Oh, John Wayne, that's your puns. But that's what I do. I do mascotting costumes. I rarely do characters that show my face.
Me too.
Yep.
It's like there's not a whole lot of characters that have facial hair out there.
Yeah.
Or with goatees. And so it's just like, armor works.
Yeah.
Right.
The origins.
It doesn't work well when you're trying to plaster cast, though.
No. The origins of where I started doing mascotting was a project that was assigned to me in 7th grade, and it was called like the Mohican Mask or something or another. And I really enjoyed just making like mascot heads and stuff of the like. So I was like, oh, this is also kind of different. You don't really see too many people walking around as some of these iconic characters. I mean,
They're harder to do.
and mascotting is very much harder to do, and kind of like Master Chief and those really big. It's a big outfit, and you get hot, you get sweaty, and I mean, it's not something that. And sometimes your vision is blocked, and I mean, it takes a lot to wear
How do you
mascotting.
see through that thing?
The eyes.
The eyes.
Is it mesh or?
Yeah.
I never see that in my eyes.
A mesh. Yeah, it's I was explaining in the panel before that some of the employees at Joann's look at me weird because I just kind of go through the fabric and I'm like, oh, I can see through this. I'm going to use this. And I said the eyes, but there's different ways of depending on the character, there's different ways to manipulate your actual line of vision. For instance, Lion's Sword that you guys saw a little while ago, I see out of the mouth. I don't see out of the actual eyes themselves. Because with Lion's Sword, he has like yellow where the white of your eye is supposed to be, and then he has blue eyes, and then he has black pupils. So it's like, I really wanted to keep that aesthetic. So I just built, actually the base of that costume is a bicycle. And the top part of it, that's where his eyes actually sit, and of course my actual line of vision is right.
Is that yours?
Oh yeah. This is
Oh, man, the Goron.
Yeah, this is the first one. That's all plaster and fiberglass. The eyes there, it's actually I just took like plastic sheeting and then Sharpied over it. I left the little eye shinies in there so I can see through it. It's kind of hard. Like I'm looking through like this way to see, but
You get some very interesting line of vision. You're like, man, I didn't know my eyes could do this, but I can see. One of the things I actually became very fond of, like recently using for line of to actually see, is that cross stitching mesh that's in Michaels or Hobby Lobby, and it's really cheap. I want to say it's like 59 cents, 63 cents, something like that, 39 cents, I don't know, something cents. And it comes in white and black, but those are generally the eye colors that you need.
I was just wondering, speaking of seeing through things, what if you wanted to do like a visor that's like black in the front, like?
Oh, that's a question.
Nightshade.
Nightshade.
Nightshade. You can find it at a lot of vehicle places.
Auto shop.
It's kind of not super legal because a lot of people use it for like racing, but you take it and you spray it on the interior of your visor. The interior of your visor. Give it about 12 hours to cure, and you'll be able to see out of it perfectly, but no one will be able to see in. I used it for my tally. I've had people. Yeah, I had people walk up and be like, "Oh my gosh, can you see me?" Yeah, I can see you just fine. I don't need anybody to lead me around.
Yeah.
Or you could just make it so you're blind. I do a lot of blind costumes. The like.
Can you do the same thing
Cheap.
with like the gold halo visors? Or in,
Motorcycle visor.
Yeah, that's buy something already done and cut it out into the shape you need.
Yeah. Unless it's like the EVA helmet or the pilot helmet.
Then you might have to back those.
Well, yeah, but like to make it gold, there is no gold
There's no gold tinting.
tinting for it. You have to make it black
Yeah.
or whatever color.
Or
We've been
blind.
looking for a solution for that for years.
What's the stuff called?
What?
What's the stuff called?
Nightshade. Comes in a purple can.
Like the attack in Pokemon.
Yeah, darkness.
This. Yeah, I was about to get back to that. I totally went off on a tangent.
We have
so
the
sorry.
body of Diddy Kong.
Yes. Oh no. But like I threw for Diddy Kong in particular, I had to blow up the pattern 3 times, practically 3 times my size, because the proportion of the head for the base of the mascotting head, depending if it's a more rounded shape or if it's more animalistic shape. This one being more of a round base, I used a beach ball. The beach ball has like a 13-inch circumference, so it comes out about like this far. So that's why I had to blow up the pattern itself for the proportion of the body to match the head. But for this one in particular, once I actually got the base of the costume sewn and after I blew out the costume, and one thing with mascotting, most of the patterns you just have to come up with yourself because they're just so unnatural. But what I did with Diddy Kong in particular is I have these pillows that I had this leftover material in my house, and I was like, okay, this works. And I just kind of sewed a square pillow for each of the sides, so to mirror each side, so it gave me the width I needed. And then for this way out, I took 2 giant circles, cut it out of fabric, and I sewed it, and then left, of course, a little hole for me to just stuff cotton in it. And that's how I was able to get the full rounded effect that I needed around here. For a character like Kid Buu, I actually did something interesting. My friend's like, "You're gonna have to bind for Kid Buu," and I was like, I don't like binding. I'm not binding. And they're like, "Well, how are you gonna do it?" And I was like, "It's gonna be kind of weird. But I'm gonna work with my anatomy." Catch my drift. So what I did is actually I built on top right here, and then I'm small, so it gave me the kind of the pec level I needed. And actually for the biceps and the triceps, I thrifted some old bras.
Oh yeah,
you know what?
The bra cup, another wonderful pre-made shape.
Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? It's cheap. All I have to do is add a little stuffing, and I have my biceps and triceps and seps of seps.
Do you have an inner layer? Did you work on an inner layer and then throw another one?
Yes.
Or,
Yeah. For not Diddy Kong, for Kid Buu in particular, I sewed, those like Under Armour shirts, and for a lot of my costumes, I like to use pre-existing. Oh, hey, I'm coming over there. I just got zipping back up.
Hey Whitney, guess who decided to just patrol and pop into your panel? Mike Boyke.
Oh,
He's
Mike.
Mikey.
Mike Wazowski. Man, you guys have like
That
all
is a weird arm. You have like elephantitis.
Oh, he's been working after stuff.
Here's let's say this is a non-muscular person and we're trying to do like
Me.
this is basic muscle suiting. So for like let's say her biceps there's a I don't know what we got, the shoulder piece. So you make a little pad, like let's imagine you're wearing spandex. I'll even draw a little
Get the collar.
so you stick there. Now he's wearing spandex. So on top of the spandex, you can build these little pillows. Basically, pillows are the easiest one. Sometimes you can use like a harder, rigid foam works as well. Anyways, you build the little circles onto it. You just glue them or sew them straight on. So let's just say this is accurate muscles or something.
And actually this method you can use a lot because I'm sometimes limited on funds. I'm not able to do an undersuit for some of these costumes, but for Diddy Kong, say if, I don't know if you wanted to, if you like wanted to reuse Diddy Kong, like that shape for something else. I can't really think of too many characters, but this is just an example. Or even like for these pecs, you know, your fake pecs here. If you create an undersuit for it and you attach it to it, like a spandex would be the easiest one for breathing, and you know it's the thinnest to work with, and it's, you know, flexible. But if you have that, and then you can just pull different things over it, and that's basically what I did for Kid Boo. Is I did what Blue just drew, and then I sewed a second spandex suit, and then I pulled it over for that, and then I incorporated some shape. Everyone always asks how I did the shading on the mask. I actually need to go back and still do some more. Is I use pastels. It sticks to the fabric really well, and it's light, and then you can get some really intricate shading with that. And that's what I use for the pecs. And it's also a good method if you don't have an airbrush.
Right. Well, also one thing I like to do when I'm at this stage is you can spray it in spray-on adhesive and then spread it out and layer it on. And for some of your more rigid muscles, when you do like thicker muscle suits or more, when you're trying to get more tone on those, you just take like a pen. Well, I use like a pencil, the rubber eraser, and I just push it down into the creases I need, and just work with the spray-on adhesive to put it on over there. And then I'll go back and sew just to finish it off.
Oh, we're talking about stuff. Keep talking.
Are there any other questions for mascotting?
Yeah, that's what is fabric armor.
Any questions in general for anything?
Shit. All right, let's take another round of questions. Anybody?
I was trying
just
to,
costumes you want to do? We can explain how we do that as well. Let's do one in the back.
Oh wait, I got this.
All right, like something that's going to be covering your feet. How would you make something that looks like a digigrade for paw?
Well, I'll draw that in a second because there's actually like two different methods.
I'm gonna draw that.
Well,
I'm gonna draw
no. Well, John Wayne, it depends on what character you're cosplaying.
No,
Question.
hooves. Okay, so you have
Like a wolf face.
oh god, I can't draw heels.
Cat. So like lion sort of kind of.
But it's gonna be like.
You know, ladies, you know what they look like.
It's gonna be smaller to my
Yeah, you're always off balance.
You have your stripper heels.
2 inches.
And no. This is legit. Okay, usually they're clear, the clear stripper heels, and they usually have like a little money slot. But don't ignore that. Okay. And so with this, you'll put fabric and you'll wrap it around here, but don't touch this. And so this is clear, so it gives the illusion that this doesn't exist, and this is like giving you that arch for the hook. Perfect.
And then just take strategical pictures. Keep your back heel in there.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the text cat mounts online, like just right here, and you can actually attach them to the website, which is the necklace, and you could actually alternate it with those kind of actually attach it right here.
The support. It's basically just talking about removing the back heel so that you have.
The support,
That's how I know.
you're gonna fall.
You can do that because
Lady Gaga does it.
Lady Gaga does it. Lady Gaga's a saint. But no, actually, one of my friends did the Angela and Dice. One of them cosplayed from what is it?
They did Illidan, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Illidan Storm Rage from WoW, but the more the demon form with the horns and such.
She actually did that method where she cut out the heel and then was doing it. But you have to have really good balance, and you really have to practice with that because it's.
And you can always like change it to like alternate snout, shot on, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you want to do a look more like an actual.
Instead of like.
I would probably use resin, something like that, and just sand in my shape.
Is a medical adhesive that you use to attach it to your skin?
Oh, like the clip clop?
Piece of metal.
I get mine from Monster Maker.
Tap shoes.
Monstermakers.com. it's about.
What are they use?
Hulks of wood, but then on the ground will have a little more of a hollow sound. That's really
Right, basically that. But there's a couple different ways with the whole digigrade thing, which I went into a little bit in my mascotting panel, and I'll go ahead and draw it again. Is all right. I can draw, but not right now because I'm like totally out.
We got it.
What?
You're fake. It's tired. Fake hungover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just when
All
you're
right.
really tired.
So here's the human leg.
Ooh.
Ooh.
How
To the
beauty.
best, to the best of my ability. But it like.
We're talking about hooves.
Yeah.
You want your question answered?
Oh, yeah, we're talking about hooves and I'm talking about digigrade.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah, but you can use it if you need more height. The stripper heels will actually work as a really good base. Because I've actually done that for when I cosplay Star Wolf, the Smash Bros version. I use that to give myself more height. Generally I don't because I just kind of go with it. And most of the time I pick relatively short characters. Wear Garurumon, I'm gonna have to use a stripper dildo.
Ooh,
But-
Digimon cosplays.
It's not often done. But with
No.
digigrade, it's for instance, I'm going to use Wear Garurumon as my example because that's what I'm currently working with, and this is also what I use for Lion Sora. Whatever. So you have your normal human leg, but with a wolf, you. No.
Oh my God, Whitney, you're so interrupting.
I'm sorry. People, but you know, with the wolf, we kind of have a leg shape like so. I can actually draw, but just not right now. But you know, they have the actual animalistic shape. We don't have, our legs don't do that. So the way you give that illusion in mascotting is the important thing is you want to build on top of your thigh, and then but you also want to build out right back here with the calf.
So
And-
underneath the knee, out across the calf. in that report.
Yeah, so like, I'm really tiny, but like right here is where you want to build that part, and then
Just close to the bottom of
depending on the character. For Wear Garurumon, I'm doing like, and this is where anatomy is really helpful, like just looking at a basic anatomy of even a human, or even for an animal, because that's what I do. You really have to pre-plan a lot for mascotting because. Like the example I used earlier in the panel is, all right, you're cosplaying a normal character that might have a small shirt and you know your small pants. You have to get this the underarmature built, and then you have to think about how much fabric you're going to need for not only yourself, but plus the stuff you build. So the reason why I mentioned anatomy is because, all right, you have a muscle structure here, you have a muscle structure, you know, back here. And then you're going to have to build that on top of what you have, which is why some people use spandex suits as bases. So they just directly, people sometimes hot glue it just directly to the spandex.
It
For
hurts,
me,
so wear something under
oh yeah, so wear something underneath the spandex. For me, I just go for it.
Yeah.
I just.
A little bit of hot glue burn never, well, I mean, it did kind of hurt, but.
Styrofoam, I don't really go for the bases because it's a little too stiff, if you know what I mean. What's that foam called at Joann's, the green?
I love that foam. I use that for my monsters.
I use that for the lining of almost everything in some
It's
parts
like
of
some kind of a
it.
soybean foam or whatever.
Airy, do you know the name?
I was gonna say upholstery foam.
Yeah, there we go.
Upholstery foam works
Yeah,
great as well.
that foam that you find at Joann's in the back, it's pricey, but trust me, it works.
It'll give you both a soft and a rigid shape.
Yeah, and also the greatest thing about that is if you use that stuff as a base, styrofoam, if you ding it too hard, of course it's going to get dented after a period of time, which means that you're going to have to apply some kind of coating to it to protect it. With that stuff, it's collapsible. Diddy Kong I just shove anywhere, and I use them as a pillow if things come to it at conventions, because you know you're trying to cram 10 people in one room.
And it works as a nice blanket too. You
Yeah.
just put the whole suit on.
But
I'd like to add on to something completely random, but I like to add on to the armor making stuff. They do, if you have a Macintosh computer, yes, I call it a Macintosh because I'm a classy man.
Apple.
Or an Apple. Pepakura does not exist for the Mac. It doesn't. You have to. Unfortunately, I know it breaks your heart, but there is no program for the Macintosh.
Well,
Steve Jobs hates Pepakura.
Yeah, the program itself. I don't think Steve Jobs hates Pepakura.
He did.
Oh, he did. He did. Okay. Because it's a native Japanese program. They haven't come up with a Mac because that's American made, and so it's just very functional on PCs.
Yeah, Pepakura. You're right about that. Because Pepakura.
The Pepakura that we used to do.
Yeah, the programs that you're talking. They don't work on Mac. That was a little precaution.
That.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will find
Free
it.
program.
It's
Free program.
But to finish up the digigrade things, I know I kind of went off on a tangent because that kind of happens all the time with me.
Tangent.
But that foam I was talking about, some people are really able to, like, I come up with really intricate patterns. I'm like, all right, this is the muscle shape, and that's what I'm going to put on top of here for the thigh. Some people just kind of lay something there so it gives the shape, and some people just kind of.
Furs and other materials of that nature. What's a good site or place to go for stuff like that?
I will write those down. I'll finish up the digigrade because I was going to go into like making paws and stuff because that's a question that, and it's a thing that someone always has a question for. But yeah, you build on top of the thigh, and the top of the thigh is going to make up for this part of the wolf leg arrow. Totally an arrow. And then right here on the calf, it's a star in my made-up galaxy. And then right here is like your knee, right where your knee bends, and right here in the calf, you're going to want to build the calf out a little bit more to match, the thickness of this thigh. And then you can kind of blend it in to where your actual leg is. And this is definitely good if you're doing. I did this for Lion Sora. I have a friend that did a Twilight Princess wolf link. And so that's basically how you get this animalistic shape, but with your human leg. As far as the paws and stuff go, it's a bit intricate and it can be really tricky. There's kind of two different ways you can go about doing it. I'm really a huge fan of recycling, and some of my brothers kind of wear away their old shoes. I use them as a base, but.
We were talking about the stripper
We were
shoes.
talking about the
That's what that
stripper
is.
heels.
Oh, okay, so.
I know it doesn't look.
Yeah, you talk about the stripper heels because that was your part.
And actually, she did hooves, so I'll let her go over the hoof
you
thing.
talk about the hooves.
I haven't done hooves yet. I know how to do it. I just
Why not?
haven't done it. But as far as like the paws, I use the same foam, and the basic pattern for it, to a certain extent, when you're making like muscles and stuff, and if you do like the really small intricate pieces, and if you map it out just right in your head, it kind of looks like a Pepakura thing, really. After I started working with it more, especially after doing the grunts.
Oh, so you have been working with it?
Not with Pepakura, but like of that nature. That's where it's paper craft.
Yeah.
I've done paper craft before, so. And from paper craft, I know how to come up with some basic things. But anyway, but with your phone, what was the pattern? It's kind of, the pattern that I use for it is kind of shaped like so. And then you kind of duplicate it, and then it acts as one side and then the other side of the paw, and then you use either hot glue or some kind of adhesive, and then it holds the two pieces together, and that's how you get your paw. And you asked about fur, and I went over that in the mascotting panel. The thing about fur is, for one, we live in Texas. It is very difficult to get fur in Texas, and Joann's used to carry a long time ago when I first started cosplaying mascot characters. Now they kind of just don't have any unless it's around Halloween. Sometimes they'll get
basic
white.
colors though. They just have white, black, and brown.
Yeah,
They
white,
used
black.
to have other stuff too.
Yeah, they used to have colors out of wazoo, and I was like, yes, and now they're just like, no.
Stuff with like long hair, short hair.
Yeah, and there's a particular shag I like to go for because it has like the best animalistic feel to me, and it's kind of like if you know those craft, the basic craft things that you find like Michael's and Hobby Lobby, the little small like sheets that are like this big. That's the type of shag I like, but unfortunately it's really hard to find. Joann's really only carries the fur that I use for Ikkicon kind of year round, but it's not my favorite thing to work with. If you're looking for those different type of shags, are you, anybody here Dallas native? No.
Nobody.
All right.
I was born in Dallas, but I don't live.
Well, if you're ever visiting friends in Dallas or something, look up a place called Golden Door. It's a nice little French wholesale place, and it's like a warehouse of fabric. It's amazing, but it's Golden Door, like a French thingy over that. The Golden Door, but they sell multiple colors of fur, and it was amazing. And sometimes I get my friends to ship it down for me if I can afford it. The other thing about fur, you're looking in the price range as cheap as $7.99 up to like $27.99 a yard. Right. Yeah. And I don't really spend money on $27.99 a yard because that's really expensive. I'm fortunate I'm kind of tiny, so I don't use that much material. But Golden Door is a good one. Most of the time, as much as I hate to say it because I really don't like purchasing fabric online, that's where you sometimes have to get the fur. I'm remaking Lion's store right now, and I ordered his fur online. It actually was just the right shag, and it's a really good texture of fur. But I ordered that actually from eBay. But with eBay, you have to make sure you read your descriptions and everything like that, where it's shipping from, and especially the return policy, because 9 chances out of 10, the stuff especially fabric-wise from eBay, might not be exactly what you're looking for. I've made that mistake. So eBay, and you just type in like faux fur, which faux is French, or fox, us Americans. Fox fur. And I'll talk about coloring here in just a second for getting different colors. Because around Halloween, sometimes Walmart, even for Walmarts that still have their fabric section, I'm fortunate that the one right around the corner still does. But around Halloween, they still get their fur in. And white is generally one of the colors that comes in, and I'm like, yes! And towards the end of the season, I kind of wait because they go on sale, because they don't keep that stuff out year round. To dye fur though, I like using the RIT dye. I prefer the liquid because it's just easier to work with and quicker. I mean, you can use the out of the box dye too because both of them work. Both of them work for fur, and then you just throw it in the wash and then let it cycle through. But the color you always want to work with is white. I've had people that work with black just because they had it, and they're like, I bleached it and it didn't do anything. I was like, yeah, they're just most of the time the fur is just like, it's kind of like wigs. They're synthetic fibers, so they're not going to really take color or bleaching anything of this sort. Bleaching, but they will take color. So anytime you're trying to dye fur for a different color, you definitely want to go white. And like I said, the RIT dye and then the Sharpie dye and then airbrush works on them. But only airbrush. Do not spray paint. Do not spray paint your fur.
I like spray paint.
Spray paint works for Master Chief, but does not work on fur. So faux fur, and then another really good website that my friend showed me actually is called fabrics.com, and then I also like to use fabrics.com.
I saw.
Those are the 3 places these are the 2 places. Oh, yeah. Make sure I just spelled distinctive right. I'm pretty sure it's distinctive fabrics. Yeah! Oh, that's fabric.com.
Fabric.
But,
Sounds child.
small tiny child crawling across the street.
What is it called?
Distinctive fabrics.
Whitney, would you consider some of my monster cosplays mascot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You use latex. That's really cool.
No, you spelled it wrong.
Oh, I did? Whoops.
D-I.
I was gonna say, I know I use the underlaying of the muscle thing too.
Yeah, that would definitely, oh yeah, it definitely would. It's just you use latex as a finish instead of like fur or something. But this place has some really cool furs. My friend just showed me recently.
That's the photo.
There you go. And Yeah, I really wish I had this in my last panel. This would have been so awesome. Yay for college environments and settings.
Oh, you should have been here. Like, the only thing I ever learned in school was the scale ratio formula and algebra, and that was it.
So proud of you.
Thank you.
It's actually on a page.
Yeah, it's on, I drew it out. It's legit.
What if you are working with just white fur? You want to leave the fur white, but you still want to get some distinctive shadowing into the fur without ruining that white appearance.
Airbrush.
If you can't afford an airbrush or don't have it.
Airbrush you can get for like $30, and then the paint you can use acrylic and water it down right.
Yeah.
Or you can just buy the airbrush paint, which is like just as expensive.
Yeah, the airbrush. If you get just the airbrush paint bottle, I've done this. Now the thing is, it does stiffen the fur, but it is good for little accents. Actually, for Ikkicons ears, just for the detailing, I just used a brown Sharpie marker and just went to town with it. But Sharpie works really well. We mentioned airbrushing. There's another. Oh wait, those are the only two.
Yeah, that's pretty legit.
I thought there was another one.
Crayola marker?
Oh yeah, Crayola marker works well too.
It probably works better on real fur than faux fur. Because real fur absorbs colors, and faux fur, it's synthetic, it's not.
If you let it dry for a good period of time, it won't come off. But it will know. Yeah, it's a synthetic. So when it gets wet,
if it's real fur, then yeah, you can use like the Crayola markers or whatever, because the fibers absorb the ink. But if it's a synthetic like faux fur, it probably won't. It just kind of like falls into like the wig.
Yeah, but I would definitely use like the a lot of things like for the detailing for where Garurumon on his face where he has the stripes. I didn't want to use like actually because they're kind of faded looking. Well, not faded, but yeah, to a certain extent faded, and kind of wanted to blend in with the fur, give it more of a realistic approach. That's the phrase I was looking for. I used. Yeah, or permanent marker. I used the blue Sharpie and just went in a little bit to give it a little bit of an accent. That's why I kind of stay away from the like longer shags because honestly, to me that's not too many mascot characters have like that shaggy fur to me. But that's why I recommend like the half an inch to I think it's like 3/4 of an inch length or maybe an inch length in fur because they don't really get matted too bad. But if you still want it to flow properly, there's two things you can do for the face especially, and I love doing this to the face because most of the time the face consists of short fur. Got to be glued, the same stuff you use to style your cosplay wigs with, also lays down the fur in a certain pattern that you're looking for. Yeah, I use that a lot, mostly when I'm just working with the face. For the body, if you just have one of those wide tube, like a brush, really will go through and knock everything out for you. But other than that, I really haven't experienced matting too much. There's a couple different ways depending on the character. For a costume I just made, it wasn't a particular character, it was an original character. And it was just this goes back to when I did my 7th grade project. Hair extensions I used for some of the axes, and I just kind of snipped them and gave them a little hairstyle. Actually for Wolf, for Star Wolf from Smash Bros. And Star Fox, the Mohawk is they're just wefts from they're just the wefts for hair extensions. For giving like the short, because around the muzzle you're going to have short fur in comparison to the rest of the face. If you really want to get that detailed with it, take a razor and then you can just shave down the fur and thin it out that way. Or if it's a really rugged look you want to go for, just take a pair of scissors and just kind of hack away at it. What the heck?
Hey, nobody got a badge.
Wait, is that a shade?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
What did you change?
Jesus, bro. I also showered.
Impressive.
I'm kind of scared though, because
we haven't slept.
I know.
That's impressive. And I'm talking and making sense.
What the hell?
But yeah, that's as far as like coloring. What was I on?
It was longer, attaching
Oh.
longer or shorter hair to you.
Right. If you do have that shaggy character, and maybe that character just does have really shaggy fur in certain areas, get the shaggier shade, or the shaggier fur, and then you can blend it, and with some trial and error, or not trial and error, but with like some testing, of course, and you can blend it. And like I said, with the Got To Be Glued, if you have a fine tooth comb, you can kind of blend them together, and using your Got To Be Glued and spray them, and you can kind of get in a blend like that. You could. For me, it's time consuming, but you could do it that way. I've done it before. I can't say I haven't.
It's a Fresh Prince. Oh shit, you got a Fresh Prince too?
Right.
Can I borrow it so I got two?
I'm using it.
Oh, I'll put it back.
We're so interrupting. Please go
No,
on.
it's cool.
Mine's like really heavy though, but I know Iceman's so cool.
Sorry, I'm literally running almost off of no
Tonight,
sleep.
Tonight,
You have been messing with me all weekend. No, I see you walking back in here. You go away. Cool. But
We're just doing slideshows of pictures. Ignore us.
But what tangent was I going on? First stuff. Man, that's a wide range.
Go on forever about that.
Yeah. A lot of.
All right.
Blending long and short furs.
Oh, blending the long and short furs. Like some techniques that I can say I've blended them, but most of the time, like when I'm getting those fine details, I just kind of use a razor, like the cheap disposable ones, and just kind of rough it up. And I just get a large pack of them, like $3 at Walmart. And because you're gonna run through them, and you want to keep the blade sharp, and I do recommend using. My mom is an entrepreneur, and she worked in the hair care business, so that's how I learned about the wefts and wigs. Oh man. Like I said, I'm fortunate and have a wholesaler's license and all that. You can get them at ethnic beauty supply stores. The thing is, most of those are like human hair extensions, and they can cost anywhere from the cheapest you can get them is like $6 a bag. But the thing is, it comes with a lot.
I know, that's weird.
And you can reuse them for a lot of things. And I've used these hair extensions, and Lion Sora, where he has like his hair spiking out, I've seen some people use fur. I actually used hair extensions for that. How you go about attaching them is actually, I kind of took the technique of what they actually use for when people are getting, extensions sewn into their hair. One of the methods is just strictly gluing it to the actual hair fiber. And basically I do the same thing. I plan out, like for Lion, I'm going to use Lion Sora because he's actually what I use extensions for. I planned out where the spikes had to come across the face and how they had to stick up and defy gravity and everything. And then I took the weft, cut it in small sections because you don't want to work with the large sections and everything. And you definitely want to try to layer it to make it look like he has a full set of hair. And actually I have another method with extending facial hair, I guess you could say, for furry creatures. But for with Lion Sora, I attach to the root, like it's easier. I'm very visual, so you have your fur, and then the weft has this little threaded area right here at the top. And of course, you have your hair that hangs. You take this part and you attach it kind of to the root of the fur, and then I just use hot glue, but I do color it. Like I use like a hairspray. Like those wacky colors that people use for their hair? That actually works on the fur too. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. That does work, and I use that also to give kind of the darker accent without having to blend the wefts together or anything like that. And also to cover up, like, because hot glue dries clear, and then after a while it gets kind of chalky, per se, or it looks like a residue. And so I just use that to color it, and so when that does happen, it doesn't, distract from the look that I'm achieving. For characters that have like.
Hey, when you have to go.
Pretty good. For characters that have, or for fuzzy characters that have like hair defying gravity. For Lion Sora, at first I originally just relied on Got To Be Glued, doing your traditional wig styling methods, tilting it upside down, styling the hair. And I was like, this really isn't going to stay. I actually took craft foam and I colored it brown, which is the color of his hair and his fur, and I just made. Oh, too short for this. All right.
My dear.
All right. So for lion sore in particular.
We're all just kind of snickering right here looking at
Oh,
pictures.
there's so many things I didn't get a chance to go over the mascot panel. Probably need to start requesting after. All right, so you have lion Sora, kind of. All right, I just did a lion. That doesn't look like Sora. Okay, Disney eyes there, a little bit closer. But for him, he has hair that goes off to the side here, down there. I took the craft foam and basically cut like little triangles and kind of folded it, kind of melted it a little bit so it can actually fold to the shape. And I just used it a little bit, just used, small little triangles, and I anchored them into the hair, and I glued the wefts on top of it to kind of blend it, and to the point that you didn't even notice it. And that's what I did to help. And then for his other hair that especially the ones I really had issues with when I first originally did the costume was the hair that stuck up at the top of his head. And with that, not a styrofoam cone because it gets pretty heavy and then that'll take a lot to cover it. That's why I said the craft foam because it's light. Same method, but to get a cone out of a flat piece, the shape is Pac-Man. Because when you fold these tabs together here, it'll give you a cone. And that's the method I'm doing up here for his hair. And I'm attaching the wefts, and all in all, the hair is almost permanent, it's staying. And I'm using a little bit of fabric glue to actually hold it together in the hair. I went pretty detailed with that, but I hope that helped. Oh, some of the other things people constantly ask me about is like, how do I get the whisker effect, and how do I do teeth, and the nose. The nose, I love working with Model Magic because for one at Michael's, and I most of my mascotting stuff, like for the accessories and everything, excuse me, I get is from Michael's, Hobby Lobby, or Joann's. Those are the first 3 stores I check. If not, then I start thinking outside the means. Like for leather working, I go to Tandy Leather to make belts and stuff like that. But for the teeth in particular and the nose, I mold out of Model Magic. For one, you can get a tub of Model Magic with like 5 packets in it and like 2 times the size of one packet. That's $3.99. You get 5 of those for, I believe, $20. But the good thing about Hobby Lobby and Michael's, I worked at Michael's. Every week they have a coupon that comes out, and it's either for 40% off your regular price item or it's 50% off your regular price item. More often it's the 40% over the 50%. But regardless, it cuts the price almost in half, if not in half, if you have your 50% off coupon. And you're getting a tub of it for like $10.51, and that's with tax. That's what I get for working in retail for so long, or for working there so long. But that's what I like it because it's I like Model Magic because it's light, it's easy to mold, and it air dries, and it also takes fiberglass really well. And the other clay I use for at least molding the teeth, not so much the nose because, well, the nose, I'll use it for the nose if it's a detailed nose. For Lion Store in particular, since it was a more cartoony effect, I was going for it. I used Model Magic, and it was really, I molded it in like 5 minutes, but it's air dried. That's why I like working with the Sculpey you have to bake in the oven. I should write that down. But clays, Model Magic. I know I'm running very crooked, and what did I say? Model Magic is Sculpey. One you bake, one you don't. One is air dry. I heard people use paper clay. Paper clay is good to use, but it's
Epoxy sculpt.
Epoxy sculpt. An epoxy sculpt. I've never worked with that.
What is that?
What is that?
This
but,
is that.
Whoa!
There.
But
Model Magic, all right.
Yeah, that's Model Magic, and like I said, it's really light and it dries kind of foamy, but it's fragile. So one thing you want to do with that is coat it, or like fiberglass over it, and to give it, make them sturdier. And that's generally what I use for the teeth. And for the teeth, to give that realistic feel, I actually look at pictures of like growling wolves and lions and stuff like that, so make sure I get like the
the party god from Adventure Time, the teeth.
Do you just use the resin, fiberglass resin over, or you put the cloth?
I don't do I try to actually stay away from the cloth as much as possible, but I just use the resin. And just brush it on just to make it stronger. Because now Lion Sora I did not do that with because he was so cartoony. I just used craft foam for the teeth, and because I was just going for that cartoony appearance with him. For a more realistic approach, like for when I finish up the detailing of where Garou, I'm sculpting each individual tooth. You can technically resin cast the teeth if you wanted to, if you get a mold for it. There's a lot of different ways you go with it. You just have to do trial and error to see what you feel comfortable with. We got your question answered about the...
Yeah, I answered it for her.
Yeah, cool. Oh, whiskers. I like using... because I'm cheap and I'm a college student, and so funds are like non-existent most of the time. Those little twisty tie things that the little toys come in that are on the back, and they're very annoying when you're younger on Christmas Day because you can't get the toy out. I save those and I straighten them out, and they actually make really good whiskers because they reflect light just right. But if you don't have access to those, there are different craft wires clear craft wires that you can find in the jewelry section at Michael's and stuff like that make really good wires.
Or black wire.
Or black wire.
Just regular electrical wire.
Yeah. Some characters have the clear whiskers, and then some of them have for Lion Sora I used black because he has black whiskers. What's our time?
Yeah. 8 minutes.
8, 7. I was ready.
Any more questions?
Any questions? Yes.
Any questions?
Anything.
I kind of missed 20 minutes. I apologize. For after doing the Pepakura part, how do you actually go from Pepakura to actual plastic arms?
Okay, so that's me. Soon. Okay. What that is, that's Rondo. It's advanced stuff, but you usually use fiberglass, and you coat the inside with the resin.
Or you can do smooth cast.
Or you can use smooth cast, either one.
What exactly is smooth cast?
It's plastic. It's a liquid plastic.
So you just kind of paint it on?
Yeah, and then it flashes, turns white. It's clear, but turns white, and it's solid plastic, computer plastic.
Like that white helmet right there.
Like that white, or my helmet.
And then you just keep layering it until it's the right shape, or
flush.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. And then from there, that's me drying it because it was 60 or 50
Yeah,
degrees.
the colder it is, the harder it is to work on hard props.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have to. Yes. Fiberglass needs heat to cure.
Smooth cast needs it. Spray paint needs a certain condition.
Yeah. You just make sure you read that stuff.
And then once you get all that done, you have to spot. Well, that's sanding. That's actually not spot.
I don't think
the red those pops, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the red, that's actually red spray paint. You sand down all the paper, and then all that's left is going to be the Bondo. I use spray paint to see where all the parts where I need to get that I missed, and it's really heavy.
It is. My brother's fault. That's why.
And then some more angles of the spray paint, and you just sand it down to get it really, really smooth. And that's all I have so far about it. That's as close as it is because I haven't been able to do anything else with it.
But yeah, you keep sanding and you go up.
Smooth it out.
In sandpaper, I finished the white helmet with a 600 grit sandpaper, and I'm probably gonna redo it with a 1000 grit.
Yeah. And then you cut out the visor.
Dremel.
With a Dremel tool, and then a vacuum foam table, and then you vacuum foam with the ODST helmet. You vacuum foam the visor, and then do the nightshade stuff, make it black, and then pop the vacuum foam plastic in, and you have a helmet. And then from there, what you could do is put lights, fans, fancy stuff on it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot you can do.
Oh my God,
Have you guys
Jesse.
talked about hydrating yourself?
Hydrate all the time.
Oh my goodness.
Drink water.
If you're doing any of these kind of costumes, really anything in general on a convention floor, drink plenty and plenty of water, especially if you're doing a costume like Master Chief or mascotting. I've heard several people, and myself included, especially when I was younger. I've been cosplaying since I was like 12. So of course when I was running around the conventions, I would go nonstop, and I'm still kind of like that. And so people are like, hey, have you had water? Hey, have you eaten? Please take that kind of stuff into consideration. You're sweating, you're hot, and everything like of that nature. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. They have these mostly
Drink water.
Yeah, just drink water.
What's up?
Yeah, and
Talk
fans.
about vacuum.
Fans are awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna go over vacuum forming real quick. If you guys are okay with that. So I figure it's a big part of hard props. There are several ways to vacuum form. I have probably the cheapest, most ghetto vacuum form thing that I built out of stuff.
What that?
Yeah.
Yay, what that?
Basically, I have a table. Actually, I have a piece of drywall. Lots, like $20 from Home Depot. I did a hole in it, and I attached a piece of a vacuum cleaner to it. And
What
then yeah, or a really powerful vacuum cleaner. Then I got my vacuum cleaner over here, all happy, ready to go. And then I actually, here's a top-down view of my big happy drywall. And I actually figured out the basic size of all the plastic I use. And I laid down strips of foam so that I have something to compress and help aid in creating a vacuum. So I've got this nice little wall built around it. And so I take my piece of plastic, I usually use PETG, either 0.06 or 0.08 in width. And I built a frame around it out of wood. I pop it in an oven until it starts to droop. You pull it out real quick, and then I'll have my buck right there, which is usually a visor. And then you have someone turn on the vacuum for you. And then you slowly, or quickly, because you don't want it to dry and harden right there, you put it down, and hopefully, if you did the buck correctly and everything else, the vacuum will be created, it'll go and suck and create a nice shape. And I also use a heat gun to help me in this process, because sometimes the plastic didn't heat up correctly, and so if the vacuum is still on, you can use a heat gun over certain areas and just help it heat just enough
Or a
to
hair
finish
dryer.
that shape. I like my heat gun.
Let's use hair dryers.
Heat gun.
And Cheerios.
Walmart. Heat gun, like $17. My best friend.
Yeah. They get up to like 500 degrees, and they're really cheap.
Yeah. Questions? Anything.
Because we're about to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Do you do 3D modeling on like 3ds Max?
I did.
Yes.
I did?
Yes.
For the helmet? Okay.
Blender is a free program. Look it up on Google. Blender model making program, and just learn how to do it and download it and stuff.
Any other questions?
But ladies, please, one at a time.
What do you think about modifying other weapons like you buy at the store?
Oh, that's perfect.
Nerf guns are perfect.
Do it.
Yes.
Especially for steampunk.
Especially for steampunk.
Bone, styrene, Sintra,
Oh, no,
pieces of
we need
plastic, any
strand
found
punk.
objects.
It's all about
It's always a good idea.
I get tubes of cardboard from my work.
That works. Do anything.
Yes.
Yeah, how do you like bridge different pieces of plastic together that you can form? Like how do you attach them?
You said attach?
Yeah, like how do you attach them? Do you have to make like a big dome or something?
There's special two-parts adhesives just for plastics that actually melt the plastics and create one piece.
Or you could just use, because plastic bonds to itself when you're working with smooth-on products, and so you can just like put a thin layer of the smooth-on, and the molecules do this. And so like you sand it down, and it's like it never even happened. Yes.
Paint on, like smooth something.
Super blades.
Super blades.
Super blades. Watch out, most people at Home Depot will not know what you're talking about.
It's in the aisle where they sell bar top stuff, varnishes
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yes.
For all the pots and stuff, how much does it cost?
A gallon of a smooth cast, which is 2 big jugs that you mix together, is $70.
Would that cover a whole body?
You could do a full body suit of armor with one thing of suit cast. It is possible.
It's very difficult.
What?
It is very difficult.
Just slushing. You just mix them together for slush.
Bigger budget.
Yeah. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Not definitely scary.
April, how do you spell your stuff?
Oh, Shinka Studios.
There you go. In case, if you guys have any further questions when you're working on your costumes and everything, I went on ahead and wrote our email and stuff. And I'm sorry I forgot to introduce myself when I ran in the panel. My name is Whitney. My alias is Monkey Heartless. When you guys saw the DeviantArt and stuff up there, and yeah, I work with Evil Pastry Studios, and I wrote the email. And this is our good friends of ours, Shinka Studios. So. Thank you guys for joining us in our panel. Our 2-hour panel. I came halfway through.
All right, we're done.